and subscribe, please.
We've got Adelaide's own Speedway Sidecar rider of the number 115 bike, Kane Golding. How you doing tonight, Kane?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, mate. Just knocked off work, got home, excited to do our interview. Pretty keen. Please
tell everyone your Instagram, your Facebook, everything. How do we keep up with your race team, and what is it called?
So our race team's actually called Wet Dream Racing. We're on Facebook and Instagram, so we're on both of those. We monitor it, I'd say, relatively good. So, yeah, basically that'd be the best way to keep in contact with us and keep up with following us.
Now, there's plenty of fresh merch, fresh, oof. So how do we get hold of this merch?
Pretty well, basically, just when we come sort of towards this to the point when we're gonna start, we'll do an order. We'll put up a few posts on Facebook and Instagram, doing pre-orders, just because how things are. Everyone's fairly aware that the merch game's pretty expensive, so we try and do it as a bulk order and basically take it as a pre-order. We'll put the order in and we'll get it. So if we put it in Monday, we'll get it on a Friday. So the best way to contact us is just keep your eyes peeled and on the posts, and you'll get your merch that way.
It's no secret. Your granddad is Ivan Golding, and I've got to address the elephant in the room. Please dispel the myth. I already know the truth, but is it true that your granddad gives you victories and you get perfect selections at everything?
Yeah, mate, of course. That Golding name definitely looks after itself, doesn't it? Nah, completely the opposite. So my old boy's pretty hard on me. He does some refereeing. And if there's any favoritism given my way, I'm sure that my granddad would be cutting some strings and finding out who's given the favoritism, because we're definitely not about that. We're all about trying to make our own name here, and I think we're on the way to doing that. So.
I knew that would be the case, and it's good to see. And I know you're a sort of stand-up fella. You've been to my house, and which is a funny story in itself. But tell us about the start. So I know for a fact that Ian Jordan was another granddad of yours. That was pretty big, heavy hitter in Speedway, the Northern Territory. Tell us a bit of your background on how this starts and how this comes about.
Started riding bikes when I was about 8 years old. So that was just your basic, farm bike, motocross bike sort of deal. And then right up through juniors, we raced motocross up till seniors until 2017 when I left the territory. Then raced a bit of motocross down here and didn't do too bad in a couple of the state titles. Actually picked up a state title in the territory in the 250 class in the A grade. And then just a couple times. It was more talking on the beers, but me and Isaac then. 2017, I moved here, was the first time we talked about getting on a sidecar. I thought we would never, ever come around to it. But was it 4 years later, we finally decided to have a crack. It was sort of just like he rang me up on the beers one night and said, I want to ride a sidecar. So I was like, no worries. So I called my granddad, and he was straight on the phone to Keith Bichard. And he's like, yep, I've got a bike they can ride. And I think it was like the next week. And and then we rode on Keith Bichard's old GSX R1100. It's an old sort of semi-classic. It was like a 1982 model Suzuki, I think it was. And just, riding in steel caps and borrowed Kevlars, loved it. And here we are now.
One of Australia's best FZR bikes, but you've got Mark Drews' old bike, the Ironman bike. sort of thing. And he was amazing as a Speedway sidecar rider and great guy, but that piece of machinery surely has given you a shot in the arm and you've run with it. You've actually, thrown yourself in the deep end. You've done quite well for yourself.
Getting that bike definitely helped our start for sure. That leapfrogged us straight into the mix of it. I think any other bike, I think we probably wouldn't have got to where we have gotten as quick as we have. It's a weapon. It's the fastest bike I've ever been on. I'm very thankful that I'm not sure how it worked, whether Mark approached my granddad or my granddad approached Mark, but I'm very grateful that we have that bike because look what it's done.
I come down to the Australian titles this year at Gillman and you binned it in practice and I wasn't watching, but then all of a sudden I come back and there's all shale all over your Kevlar. So tell us about sort of the lowlights like that.
So that particular night, I just really wanted to get a close sample of the track. So I think the best way to do that was actually go in backwards into 3 and taste it with the back of my head. So I can tell you from that experience, the track was pretty drivey that night. Yeah, no, talk about Aussie titles, man. What a roller coaster. Awesome to be able to get in and ride another title. But probably letting the pressure get to me and getting too much in my own head and just mistake after mistake. And then just going and talking to Mark Mitchell during the meeting. And then he just says something as simple as try this. And then we pick up a third, we get some points on the board and we don't golden duck it or golden goose it or whatever you'd call it like the year before. So, but yeah, that's another low and that's something we need to work on, trying to shift that momentum back to being something positive and finish the meeting like we did the state title.
So tell us about that. Tell us about some of the highlights then of how you've done really well and you've sort of surprised yourself and sort of shaking the game up a bit and showing people that, you're serious and you do want to have a good go.
There's been a couple times where we've gone, oh, wow, that's a bit of a shock. I think our first shock was when, we were riding Keith Bichard's old Suzuki and we come out of the gate and we beat some of those quicker boys in our first race meeting, So I think we might have got in front of one of the Sylvie boys and finished in front of them. And then maybe Fleety at one stage as well. I think we beat them as well. That would be the first one. The second highlight would be, first season we won the B grade state title. And that was on my birthday. So that was a nice little present. We didn't do too bad in the A grade. I think we got 6th or 7th. I can't remember now. The Oceania, we got, I think, the same 6th or 7th. And then, made the Aussies in our first season through the qualifiers. That was cool, man. It was a bit of a shame though. Didn't get to do it with Isaac, but had Greg Black on the back with me that night. And then, the biggest one of all, man, getting second in the state title, but it's not as good as knowing that we could have almost had it and threw it away. And the craftiness of Mark Playstead was able to take the W that night. And, he deserved it. We made the mistake and he showed us how to ride the track. So
it's sort of trial by fire because down there it's like nothing else I've ever seen. And I've been around sidecars for a bit now and particularly solos as well. And Gillman is such a fast track. From the outside, it's nearly the same as a sprint car track in the sense of all you can hear is just the motors singing, people using all their power, and it's just amazing. The competition's so stiff. So what's it been like? It just been dumped in the deep end?
if anything, being dumped in the deep end has probably helped us succeed to where we are at the moment. Like, I'm a quick learner, and I think Isaac's pretty well the same. We're pretty hands-on learning. So if we had gone through like a different sort of phase through it, or got maybe a little less powerful bike or something like that, I think we might have struggled for a bit longer. Being thrown in the deep end, it's you sink or swim. So, and I tend to jump in the deep end with a lot of things in life, and this is just one of them, I guess.
Like and subscribe, please.
While doing this interview, I've had some amazing news come across that Gillman are actually going to be, or they are now, one of my sponsors, and I never thought I would get there, let alone go to the Australian titles, thanks to Dan Puddy and the crew. But now I'm going to start attending Gillman more, and we're going to sort of see each other a lot more. So that's my travel plans at the moment. But what are sort of your season's plans looking like coming up?
Well, firstly, man, congrats on that. That's awesome news for you. I know you work your butt off, so that's heaps good news, man. Pumped for you for that. Can't wait to see a little bit more. As for traveling, definitely looking at going over to WA and redeeming ourselves. Try and work off that monkey on our shoulder or grudge on the back, whatever you want to call it, and definitely get over in WA and try and mix it up. We're trying to set a goal at top 10. We got 16th the first year, 14th the following. Top 10s are probably a nice goal, but definitely going to head over to Mildura a couple times this year. Obviously all the Gillman ones, but see how we go. Maybe even try and go over to like New South Wales. I think it's like Tamworth, I think, over there. Maybe try and go over there once, maybe. It's all money, man. That's the big thing. Got to find ourselves some big sponsors.
Different, but everyone's got a routine as to what helps them calm the nerves. And Andrew Summerhays goes to sleep at meetings and before racing. So what's your little routine or trick that helps you deal with a alcohol-fueled no-brake bike?
Yeah, I did see that. He likes falling asleep at the track. That was a good one. I saw that picture getting around. My routine, man, to be honest, I don't have one. I'm probably, if I was any more laid back, I'd probably fall over. Anyone down at Gillman would know I'm notorious for being late. I will rock up when scrutineering's pretty well done and everything's a mad rush. I hate it, but it kind of works well for us. The meetings that we've got down there nice and early, had everything prepared, everything's ready to go, tear-offs are done, bikes fueled, tyre pressures are ready at what they should be. We have a terrible night. We rock up late, we get second in a state title. I don't understand, but maybe I need to set a specific routine so I'm less in my head. But at the moment, no, I don't have a routine.
My favourite one I've heard so far is Anne Plummer, a female sidecar passenger from New Zealand. She sings to herself while she's getting up to the tapes, and that helps her deal with it. But I'd sing too if I had to get on a clay track on a sidecar.
Absolutely. My sister used to do it when she raced motocross. She'd come past doing lap after lap and you'd hear her singing. But I think maybe the only routine thing now, thinking about it, when we get to the start gate would be Isaac gives me a little bit of love tap on the chest and a little bit of a fire up. But everything prior to that, we'll do a little bit of a fist bump before we go out on the track. But I'm trying to start up the Cool Runnings vibe as they push off the bobsled when we fire up the bike. A lot of the boys will yell out fire up before they push the bike, like your Trelaw and a couple of those boys. But I'm trying to bring a bit more fun to it, you know.
Ask, who is someone that you're sort of frothing on in the scene with sidecars? Because I've got my favourites, and if I'm being honest, it's probably hard for me to list people I don't froth on. But who's someone that you watch and you're just stoked on watching them?
To be honest, like you've got your favorites, all the big boys, all the big names, they're hard to overlook. But, a couple people that, we've grown up and watched, like you've got your Headland boys, you've got Trelaw, and someone we used to watch a lot was Bots, Dave Bottrell. But, we were only young then, so he doesn't probably remember me that well. He'll remember me, I think, but being, probably up to his hip, and we used to sit on his bike in Alice Springs and things like that. But probably my idol in sidecar would be definitely Mark Mitchell, man. He's helped us out so much, and he's just such a unique style, and the way he can ride a bike. I can't look past Mark being someone I look up to in sidecars. You try and pick a lot of little things from everybody, but I definitely say Mark's probably the man for me, I think.
Mark opened his house to me for meeting me for, it would have been 20 minutes. And then he's like, sweet, come over, we'll do an interview. And it worked a treat. His wife's amazing. His kids are great. His dad is awesome. But I got to know, what is with you South Australians and doing this through corners, like pretty much head on the ground sort of thing while you're trying to go through turns?
I just copy it. I saw everyone else doing it, and I was like, if they're doing it, that must be the way to go. So, like I'm fairly tall. So sitting up in no man's land is probably could be good. People like you've got Shane Hudson. He's a tall man as well. He finds to ride all right, sitting upright, but with the tucking under the elbow sort of thing, I'm just trying to find where we're at. The bike's meant, but I think we've got a lot of adjusting to try and do to work out, what works for us. So coming in early to the piece, I used to sit up fairly upright, and then I was told by a few people that I should try and drop it down, and try the look under the arm sort of thing. It does work, but I just got to learn not to be lazy with it, because as you can see from the Aussies, we spend a lot of time spinning out. So just trying to find that happy medium, I think. But it also, I think one thing that maybe not a lot of people realise, but it actually blocks a bit of roost. So I'm not too fond of copping it in the face, but I don't wear a lot of body armour, so I'll cop it wherever else, man.
That's one thing I did notice, like I was saying about being a sprint car style, sort of just for the roost alone. Gillman was crazy. Like normally I can stand on the fence like this, and because I wear nerd goggles, I can sort of just squint, do the safety squint and get away with it. But Gillman, man, it's like that, trying to film, like it's heavy, but good. It's a good thing.
I've been roosted a couple times, but I still can't compare it to racing like motocross. The worst I've ever been roosted, hands down, is racing motocross. So when I was riding the 450, you got, you can have anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 450s on a track. And, you think of the knobs on those bikes, on the rear tires, it's not pleasant, especially if you're like me and sometimes you forget stuff like your roost protector. It's not a good time, man.
Everyone's got something they're really good at that not many people know. And I can only tell you what I can say about myself, but I'm pretty handy on the airbrush and the paint gun and stuff, and mechanic as well. But what's sort of your talents that people might not really know about?
I'm not a bad rugby player. I'm not great. I'm not pro by any means, but I've definitely dabbled in the A and B grades in rugby union down here. Probably I'm not a bad dancer either, to be honest. Do a little bit of but just anything revolving a bike, I guess. Rugby.
I might as well share it. I have no shame about anything, and I'm not scared of anything. But, man, I can tell you now, dancing gives me a panic attack. Like, don't matter what scenario, who's there, if I'm trying to be funny, I just can't do it. It's not me. I'd much rather do anything else.
Like, I like dancing around. I'll dance with the kids, and I'll dance on my partner. And I've done a few debutante balls, like ballroom dancing. But I'm just a goof, so people just think that, come to the night, he's going to stuff it up. But, when the night comes and I pull it all together, I can boogie.
Shout out, thank you, partner. Shout out to Mini-Me. Like, you got to thank the people behind you. So go through some of the people that have really had your back, and that cute as hell little baby. So shout them out, man.
Family straight off, man. So yeah, my mum, my dad, my girlfriend Ricky. You've got my grandparents. We've got family on both sides. So Isaac being my cousin, it's a pretty tight knit group. So his mum and dad, my mum's brother, he's behind us. My mum's mum. That's it. Like family wise, we've got so much. All the supporters at Gillman that come down and say hello to us. Like, love it so much. You got like Bichard family. So, Tim, Chris, Keith, all those guys. The Mitchell family. So Jake, Mark, and the old man. Old Bill. So yeah, them as well. Man. And there's been a few sidecar guys that have helped us out as well. So, Shane Rudloff's helped us out here and there. Just with advice, and man, it helps. I've spoken to Trelaw on the phone trying to get stuff sorted, with headphones and that. I've spoken to Bots on the phone briefly. I've spoken to Brody here and there. But there's so many people that have come down and helped us out. Justin Playstead, he's come out and just put things in my ear, and it's worked, and he's a good bloke as well. But yeah, other than that, our sponsors wouldn't be anywhere without them either. We've got Rubbertex, who I actually now work for. We've got Quick Fire Systems, Delta Electrical, Armchair Champions, Chooks Custom Graphics helped us out with our kit. J&W's, I'll put Bill's Bits and Bikes on there too, because they've helped us out with a lot of stuff as well. I'm sure there's a lot more people behind us. Mark Drew, when we first bought the bike, he was probably getting sick of me calling him and texting him, because I'm like, what does this do? But, heaps of people. Yourself, when we come over to get our trailer, you were just at a drop of a hat. You were like, yep, I'll help you out, whatever you need. Hamish Golding, when we went to the Aussies in Mildura, poor bugger didn't make it in, and I don't know if it was that night or early the next morning. He was like, hey man, if you need a spare bike, mine's yours. And yeah, that sort of threw me away. Must just be that last name, I guess. But yeah, there's a massive amount of people that have helped us out, and there's just so many. I can't remember.
As we're sort of drawing to the end of this, man, I got to say, I love you. I'm stoked that we're friends. Things have been amazing, and it looks like both of our sort of deals are going like this. So, yeah, man, thanks for being rad. I can't wait to see you again in person, and thanks for coming on the pole line.
Hey, man, anytime. You're a good bloke, and you're doing good things, and I can't wait for our friendship to get reach high limits as well. So, cheers, man. Thanks for having me.
Like and subscribe, please.